Good evening, I'm Bill Mulholland, and welcome to Good Sports. Tonight, we will devote the entire show to reminiscing about basketball in the city of Pawtucket during the 1940s and 50s, and we'll take an in-depth look at the Pawtucket Hobos basketball team. With me now are former Pawtucket Hobo players Joe Monteiro and Mike Webb. Welcome to Good Sports, gentlemen.
Good to be here, Bill.
Good to have you guys. Now, Joe, in 1947, Pawtucket sports legend George Patrick Duffy formed the Pawtucket Hobos, and you were one of the original members. How did George get you involved with playing for the Hobos?
I was up in Cumberland playing for St. Patrick's Church in the CYO League, and George asked me to come down and try out with the Pawtucket Hobos, and I tried out, and I happened to make the team.
Now, the CYO back then was not just for the youth, you were telling me before. It was, you even had adult leagues with CYO?
Oh, yes.
How was that involved?
We played Sundays in Cumberland High School, the old Cumberland High School, and different parishes, Holy Trinity, Central Paul, St. Joseph's, and Central Paul's. I was all involved, and we had very good basketball in them days.
Yeah, was there a lot of competition to play on the Hobos team initially when trying out? Were there quite a few gentlemen that George had lined up?
Yes, quite a few.
So it was an honor to go over and be selected.
It was an honor, definitely an honor.
Now, Joe, the Hobos had a different style uniform and also warm-ups. Describe to our audience what the Hobos wore.
They're more or less like a pajama type and a prison type. And then we had another set. There were tuxedos with the soft hat and the tails.
You wore that during the game?
That was during the warm-up, more or less. And we just come up for showmanship. That's all that was.
So you would come out in front of these big crowds,
yes,
and the other team would be in their regular basketball uniforms.
They'd be laughing at us.
And you guys would come out in top hats and tails?
Yeah.
And whose idea? That was
George Patrick Duffy's idea.
A showman even back then, huh?
Right.
Now, Joe, did the Hobos have a team manager back then?
Of course. We had Billy Pappas.
Talk a little bit about that.
Billy was involved also in baseball with Kenny Collins and all through his life. And right now, Billy just about gets around in the house, and I hope he's watching this program, but Billy was involved in sports like his brother Mike was.
And what role did Bill have in the Hobos as team manager? What would he do?
He set up the schedule, the equipment man also. He would make sure all the stuff was there. Billy was involved into it, and it's too bad. People don't see him around no more. If he can't get out, that's what it is.
So he was a valuable asset to the Hobos.
Very valuable.
Now, Mike, you joined the Hobos shortly after Joe. How did Mr. Duffy recruit you onto the team?
Well, I was playing in the Blackstone Valley Industrial League, plus the Church League, but not the same Church League as Joe played in. I played in the one that had Smithfield, St. Paul's, Darlington Congregational, Pawtucket Congregational, St. George's. There was about, I'd say, 15 teams in the league. We had 2 divisions. But as I said, back in those days, we had great organized church leagues, industrial leagues, and all kinds of leagues that were played in the Blackstone Valley. So I had a great season scoring, so he invited me down to try out with the Hobos at the same time, right after Joe. I was about a year after Joe was on the team, but I had the same thing, showing up down there and trying out with the team with George.
Now, this was all after World War II?
That's correct,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And what was high school basketball like back before?
High school basketball back in those days, Pawtucket West I went to, and Joe went to Pawtucket East, and St. Raphael's. When you played back in those days, they closed the gyms down at 6:30 because they had standing room only.
Is that
and
right?
then down in West, they'd open up the glasses and the glass windows in the balcony and in the swim pool, plus in the hallway upstairs. But if you didn't get there at 6:30, you didn't get in. There was great rivalry back in them days with St. Ray's, Pawtucket East, and Pawtucket West playing each other. It was just great. Even though we didn't play them, we filled the gym at West High at every game.
Is that right? Now, Pawtucket East was...
It was East and West. Now it's Tolman now today, East. That was good basketball.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, Mike and Joe, if you look at our monitor, you'll see the original Hobos team. Why don't you take some time to talk about the team and its players as we take a look at the monitor? The picture should be coming up. I believe it was that's the picture that was up in the Pawtucket Boys and Girls Club for so many years.
Yeah, that is the one in Pittsfield, Mass. We won the championship. Bob Caveney.
Number 4?
And that's George Patrick Duffy on the floor. It's Caveney, number 4.
Yeah, and what type of play was Mr. Caveney?
Hell of a set shot. Could really shoot the ball.
Bob Caveney was the captain and a graduate of St. Raphael's.
And who's the next gentleman?
Tom Whipple.
Now, look at if you look at the uniforms, what they had these tattered things on it.
Yeah, that was the old Providence Steamrollers uniforms right there, the professional team.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Lou Perry
and that's you, Joe,
donated
at
it.
14.
That's myself and McCarthy, Ray McCarthy.
Yeah.
And what did Ray play?
He played guard in center. That's Mr. Pappas, right, Mike?
Mike Pappas.
Is that him?
Golden Greek.
Yeah,
that's
that's
who he was.
him. That's Mike Pappas right there.
And Mike was known for a set shot back then?
Two-hand set.
Yeah, that's all he did. That's right. It's Buster Mills.
Buster Mills played baseball in the New England League, and I think he was a graduate of Holy Cross as a catcher.
He was, that's right.
And he was also your coach in this team, wasn't he?
That's right, yeah.
Bobby LaFave.
Bobby LaFave, yep.
Now, did Bobby come back and actually play for the Hobos
He
later
did.
on?
I played in my later years with Bobby LaFave with the Hobos.
And there's George Patrick.
And there's a legend himself. He looks the same as he does now.
He
doesn't
hasn't changed any.
Oh.
No. George Patrick.
The picture bring back memories?
I guess it does, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, that was a hell of a ball club.
That was the 49 New England Championship team, wasn't it?
Pittsfield, Mass, yeah.
Now, Mike, where were some of the places the Hobos played basketball?
Well, there's probably we played in the Jack Witchy's wrestling place in North Attleboro. We played on aircraft carriers. We played
aircraft carriers.
Aircraft
Why don't you talk a little bit about the aircraft carrier?
This is a case. We played in Attleboro in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. It was a tri-state basketball league. We were a Pawtucket team in there, the Shamrock Hobos. And as soon as we finished that, George Duffy put us in the car with the uniform still on, and we raced down to Quonset. There was a big aircraft carrier in there. We went on board the aircraft carrier. You stood on the thing where they dropped the planes down. They dropped us one floor down into a big gymnasium, and we played that same day against the aircraft carrier.
Is that right?
That's absolutely right, yeah. There was many a times in Pawtucket that George Duffy had arranged 2 games the same day. So we played one, and you wouldn't take your clothes off, your basketball suits. You'd just get in the car with your coat on and go down and play at the other place there, wherever you were playing. And as I say, we played in the Maryville gym up in North Providence. We played in the boys' club. We played
Rhode Island Auditorium?
We were the Roller Juniors in their Hobos. We played there. We played down in Wesley. We played in Stonington. We played all over Providence and all their places in there. We just played all over. We played in bandboxes and the big gyms and everything. We just played every place.
There was a place at Taffville, Connecticut. It was just nets. There's no offside. You just played basketball.
Is that right?
Years back, yeah.
Now, Joe, the Hobos did a lot of barnstorming during the 1940s and 50s. For some of our younger audience, what is barnstorming?
Well, barnstorming, we would travel to White River Junction, Claremont. We would go to Provincetown. We would go outside of Brockton and just play different clubs. And they would pay us to play in their city.
Oh, is that right?
And yeah, and they used to draw. Well, there was nothing doing them days, so naturally it was basketball.
So the Hobos were known throughout New
England.
England.
Yeah, we were out
in
New England. Yeah, absolutely.
Team.
Yeah.
And the barnstorming. Who were some of the personalities the Hobos would recruit for some of the barnstorming games?
Well, the only thing Chet Nichols won. Remember Chet?
Yeah,
Chet used to come in.
They had Jimmy
celebrity.
Tiggin. He was with the Yankees.
Yeah.
And as I say, Tom Duffy, who was he played at St. Anselm's.
And Tom Duffy, the principal over at
right,
the
Tom
West.
Duffy come out of St. Anselm's. He played some games with us, and it was Paul Sincero, who played for Stonehill.
Stonehill, yeah.
He played with us, and as I say, there was another couple of guys from PC.
There were
so many from PC that
how about
played
Chuck Stewart from Richard Allen?
That's right, he played
Chuck
for
Stewart
us. Yep.
and
so they would bring these personalities in just to play them in a special
in
place
different tournaments
to
too.
bring some money in also.
Yeah.
Is that it?
We had a tournament in Plymouth, Mass. George Washington's birthday, and they came from all over, New York, all over. We used to play 4-minute periods. If you won, then you play a 5-minute period, then you play a 7-minute period, then you play 8 for the grand prize of maybe $2,000, something like that.
Is that right?
Oh, they came from all over, them days. Yeah.
That was a big Washington's
birthday.
birthday.
That was Washington's birthday.
You guys were the Hobos were competitive?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
We never won it though. I can tell you that. No. It was too much. Competition was too great.
Now, Mike, when the Hobos went barnstorming, you were paid for the games. What were some of the monies that you would receive?
It wasn't much, but it was enough to get your a good meal after, gas money up. I mean, it was never big money.
You weren't
but that
playing
wasn't
for the
what
money,
we were really after. The only big money thing was he's talking about was one in Plymouth and Provincetown.
Yeah.
But we paid for really peanuts. You got enough to have a good supper,
You got to
pay
fin.
for the gas.
You got to fin.
That was
$7 was tough.
That was a big night. A big
And
night.
I think
$7.
George Patrick got the rest.
Well,
All right.
he had a big car that took a lot of gas.
Yeah, sure.
So you
But is
played
it-
for the love of the game
Yes,
then.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the love of the game in those days. It was great to play with the Hobos. Right.
You can't say how good it was them days. You know, today it's money. Everything is today is money.
Now, Mike, describe Joe Monteiro's style of play as a Hobo.
Joe Monteiro was one of the best rebounders ever come out of the Blackstone Valley. And he was a great two-handed set. He didn't handle too much out there, but he could shoot the two-hand shot. But those days, it was the two-hand shot. And he's a great man underneath on the when we were on the offense. He could tap in, rebound, and he did a little hook shooting in there. But Joe has a good two-hand shot, but
He was your rebounder.
yeah, he
Your
was a
muscle man
rebounder
in
and a
there.
tap-in man in there. Yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to take a short break as Dateline Pawtucket Sports recognizes the high school winter champions. So stay tuned as we continue reminiscing about the Pawtucket Hobos. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Sports. I'm Bill Mulholland, and we're reminiscing about basketball in the city of Pawtucket during the 40s and 50s with Joe Monteiro and Mike Webb. Now, Joe, in 1949, the Pawtucket Hobos won the New England AAU Championship in Pittsfield, Mass., and you were named the MVP of that tournament. Describe for our audience that championship tournament.
That was out throughout New England. A lot of college kids in the tournament, a lot. We went up there with the raggedy team we have, and we would get lucky the first two games. The third game was a close game, but we won it on strictly defense. In them days, you shot. People had to be underneath the basket. Today, the kids can shoot. Nobody had to be underneath the basket. But strictly defense, that's how we won our basket. And rebounding, Whipple, myself, and I would say definitely defense and win the championship up there.
Now, being named the MVP, I mean, why were you named the MVP, Joe?
I could rebound. I could tap in, like Mike said. I could tap the ball in and jump up and get the ball. I was considered big at them days. At 6, I was 6'2". I was considered big.
Yeah.
You hardly saw a 6'5", 6'6". 6'2" was considered big.
Now we have another picture that, Mike, that you brought in that shows the Hobos a little later on. Why don't we take a look at that picture, and you can reminisce about some of those athletes who are in that picture also.
All right, I'll talk. In the bottom row is Joe Monteiro, and on to his right is George Well, I'm in the back now. Jimmy Griffin, right there, was one of the best ball players that have come out of Cumberland.
Oh.
He retired as a captain in the state police. He played for St. Rayfields. He was a captain of St. Rayfields. Now, there's my brother-in-law, Whiffer Healy.
Whipper. Yeah.
He played
Whiffer,
with
why do they call him Whiffer?
well,
The
in
baseball
high school,
pitcher.
he strike out 20 people a game.
Hell of
is
a
that right?
baseball
He
pitcher.
signed with the Phillies, and this is Tommy Whipple. Great rebound
He was
man.
your center, wasn't
That's
he?
right.
Yeah.
Bobby Caveney, St. Rayfields. Buster Mills, he was our coach. He played also with us. He was a catcher in the New England League, plus he played a catch at Holy Cross. And that's myself down there.
Good-looking guy there, Mike, still are.
Yeah, a lot of ivory. And that's George Patrick Duffy.
Old George.
Old George, yep. He was the man. Joe Monteiro, right there.
MVP,
That's
1949
him.
New England
Yep.
AAU
Yep.
championship.
Yep. This was really a good, I would say to myself, of all the teams I played with, right here was the best team I played with the Hobos.
Is that
we had
right?
plenty of height. George Duffy would, we'd play a team, he'd let them set up, and then he'd call a timeout. He'd say, I'll play the best man on the floor. And he was in his vest pocket. He would drive the guy right out of his mind. George Duffy, he was the most fabulous man-to-man player that I think I ever saw play. He was just awful on a man. He drive the poor guy crazy out there. Never, Joe? He was awful. But anyways, that was I would say, we had plenty of height and plenty of good shooting there. That was I was, of all the Hobo teams I played with, that was the best.
We had the shooters.
No.
Believe it, I tell you.
Did you?
The guy on my left was a pretty good shooter.
Now, I was just going to ask you to describe Mike's style of play. What was he like?
Mike was defense, hatchet man, right?
Yeah.
Hatchet man, what's that mean?
Oh, don't go by him. The next time he grab you, right? And Mike could shoot. Mike was a good set shot, very good drive. He did everything well. Very good ball player.
Now, Mike, what were the differences in the 1940s and 50s styles of basketball as compared to the 1990s? What would we see back then that you don't see now?
Well, back in those days, as Joe said, anybody was 6'5" or over was not a good ball player. He couldn't dribble. He couldn't do anything. All he did was maybe rebound and he'd go down the floor. Today, the big men are just as good as the little men.
Yeah.
And as I say, we had fast little men, and we had, as I say, the 6'2" and 6'3", and 6 guys were great. But today, there's no small men playing this game anymore. They're all big.
Now, jump shots. There was no such thing as a jump shot back in the 40s and early 50s, were there?
I would think I was one of the first ones to take the one-hand shot like they take today. Most of them were
Mike
two-hand.
was saying now, Ernie Carverly, of course, this is going back to 1940.
Yeah.
This was East High School. And Ernie Carverly was the first one I seen, the one-handed shot. First one.
Did that revolutionize the scoring aspect as opposed to the set shot all the time?
No, that
in basketball.
No,
they
it's
stayed
still
with
the
the set
same.
shot.
The two set it stood all the time, and just what year would you say they went to one-handed?
I would say maybe in the late 50s.
Late 50s.
Yeah,
Everything was
because
two-handed.
still,
It was
Mike
a set.
Pappas was a
Everything was set
two-hand
up. You know, there was a pick and back and forth set shot.
Yeah.
Lots of fundamentals as
Oh, yeah.
opposed
Oh yeah,
to
you never
one-on-one
shot a
play.
basketball unless somebody was underneath the basket.
Yeah.
But today,
Yeah.
these kids today, they can shoot from way out here, and it's in. Let's face it. That's how good these kids are today.
Yeah.
They're exceptionally well.
And how about dunking, Joe? Could you dunk back then?
I just Whipple could dunk,
But
John Whipple.
But Bill, in those days, we weren't allowed to dunk.
No.
But we had 3 guys, I think him and Frank Healy and Tom
Yeah.
Whipple could dunk the ball if they were allowed to, but you couldn't do it those days. Today, it's a big thing today to watch someone dunk a ball.
I see him dunk a basketball like yesterday. It's crazy. I mean, you get an easy shot, just put it up. That's it.
Yeah.
That's just showing off. But to me, that's all it is.
Back then, but you
Yeah.
couldn't do it anyway. So if
No.
you were above the rim,
Yeah.
you just have to drop it in
Well,
or kiss it
just
off
a
the
soft
backboard.
layup.
Off
Yeah.
the board or in straight, that's right.
Now, Mike, besides the Hobo, you played in a number of basketball leagues. In fact, you set the Industrial League single-game scoring record at 77 points. I mean, you must have been a black hole that day. I mean, anything that went in, nothing went out except up to the shot. Now talk about the game, the competition in that league.
Well, let me tell you, the Industrial League was a good league.
Yeah.
As I said, there was Sales that had Whipple. A lot of these players that played with the Hobos played on different teams, Sales, Bleachery, and all of them. But this was a game we had. There was a team, I think, Fiberglass or something. They had a fellow from Attleboro, Parker, who had scored 66 points or something in a few games prior to that. And so this game we were playing this day, I had 34 points at the half. As you say, everything I shot was going in. I could throw it from midcourt or anything. It was one of those days, as you say,
In
everything
that
went
zone,
in.
they say, right?
So they said, at the end of the half, they said, let's go and try to break the record. So it was really, they fed me the ball for the rest of the game. And as I said, when it was going in for you, you could have thrown them from the closet, and they went in. It was one of those games.
Now, there were no three-point baskets either.
Oh, no.
So every basket you got was 2
You
points.
had just 2-point and foul shots, that's right.
Yeah, but Mike, let's be honest. You, George Patrick, Mike Pappas, you never got an assist in a ball game. Am I right or wrong?
No.
You never got no assist. None of you guys did.
Once the ball went into him, Joe, you never saw
Duffy
it
used
again,
to
huh?
say to me, he'd give it to you in the bucket. He says, I'll cut off, I'll give it right back to you. I never saw that ball. I never did and never will.
No.
Now, Joe, tell our audience about Christmas Day in Provincetown with the Hobos.
Oh, we used to go down to Provincetown for about 3 straight years, Christmas Day. So we had George Patrick's car, and we stopped for some gas. Well, something happened. The car went on fire. All right, it was George's car, went on fire, and George remembers this. But any time we played in Provincetown, we never won. I could never understand that. We never won. But that was like Barnstormer. We got $300 for playing down there.
But it was an expensive trip for George that time.
But that day, the car went on fire. Till this day, I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Now, Joe, besides basketball, everyone tells me you were an outstanding baseball player. Why don't you talk a little bit about your baseball career?
Well, I broke in 47 in the old New England League here where the Pawtucket Red Sox play. I knocked around 9 years, and 1 year in Panama, then the next winter I played in Caracas, Venezuela. But them days we had 400 ball players. Baseball's politics, strictly politics. I mean, you got today you got some kids up there, they don't even belong in the major leagues. But it's tough with 400 ball players. For you to make it, it's really tough. A lot of guys made it, and that I knew. But it's a break. Yeah. It's a break.
Joe was an outstanding ball player, Mike?
Great baseball player. Joe was a center fielder, and I can remember at the old McCoy Stadium, there was a tryout for some, I don't know if it was the Braves or the Red Sox, and he threw the ball from center field, almost completely without a bounce right to the home plate. And they never had a fence at McCoy Stadium years ago.
What's that?
They never had a fence.
Oh.
It was about 800 feet to center field, wasn't it, Joe?
We had a barnstorming, like the Major League All-Stars, and George Patrick Duffy ran it. So we had a Jimmy Fund home run hitting contest. So it was 10 wax. Max Surkant was pitching to me. I think I hit 6 out of there.
Did you? Off Max Surkant?
Yeah, this was just a home run for Jimmy Fund, right? And the fences were way back, not where they are today. I mean, this is garbage. And there was a National League home run hitter. He was on the barnstorming team, and so much money went into the Jimmy Fund. But like I say, baseball isn't baseball today. If you played it, you would understand it. You know, it's too bad.
Now, Mike, what impact did George Patrick Duffy have on the Hobos?
He was really the leader. He was. He just arranged everything, and as I said, he was really our leader in those days, and everything that was done. George Patrick Duffy arranged this and that, and he was just as he is today. He's the same way today. He's just an organizer. And it was great. I just can't tell you. He was just a man that did everything. He ran everything.
How about the four-man softball?
Guys, we've got a picture coming up now. Here, talk about this picture here, Joe. You just brought this up.
That is the original Hobos right there.
Yeah. Why are you guys dressed like this?
Well, George bought these uniforms, or his Salvation Army gave them to him. I don't know where the hell he got them from, but that is the original right there. And that was the first hobo right there.
You would come out on the basketball court dressed like this?
Dressed like that. That all started at Pawtucket Boys Club right there. Yep. That's where it started, Pawtucket Boys Club, Saturday afternoon. And
so you would have to earn your respect on the basketball team, basketball court dressed like this when you first came out,
yeah,
Joe.
Well, that's like a showmanship. But there's Duffy, that's Caveney in the bottom row, Tommy Witherspoon, Jimmy Durkin, Buster Mills, Sabarin, your brother-in-law Fran Healy,
George
Hannah, myself, and McCarthy.
Ray McCarthy, right, yep.
That was the original one. Then Duffy started to get other ball players. Yep. That was the original one.
Now, Joe, during the 1949 New England Championship tourney in Pittsfield, Mass., you bowed George Patrick Duffy's Studebaker.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that fateful drive that you had?
Well, Mike Pappas says I was driving, but I thought it was Mike Pappas driving. It was snowing like this. We had a storm up there, and there was a rock, but Mike thought it was snow. but it was a rock, and he hit the rock. And the
You thought he
whole
was
side of George Patrick, brand new Studebaker, it was gone. Yeah. But Mike blames me for it. I blame Mike for it, you know? So I want George to know this. All right?
It wasn't your fault. It
No,
was
of
Mr.
course
Pappas,
it wasn't my fault. Right.
Now, Mike, why don't you talk about the Amby Smith tournament and staying at the Come Along Inn?
Oh yeah, that's all.
Bring back memories?
Memories of the whole tournament bring back memories down there. We were really the chosen team that Ambrose and Smith would bring down to that St. James tournament. He loved having us down there, Amby Smith. But I'll never forget the last time we played down there, and Joe will never forget it either.
No.
We won the game, but it was only a few minutes before the game ended that Joe come down with an ankle injury. Now, the next day, he was leaving for baseball training camp down south, so he broke his ankle.
That's right.
Is that
Broke
right?
his ankle.
That
and
ended my baseball
Yep,
career right there.
That was the end.
ended right
You
there.
never heard the locker room screaming as Mr. Monteiro was blaming George Duffy for it.
And Billy Pappas.
Yeah.
Look, it swelled up like this. George says, hey, don't worry about it. It ain't broken. So I sat down. I watched the whole game. Game finished. I come back to Memorial Hospital. The guy said, what's the matter? I said, my leg. He says, oh, don't worry. It ain't broken. I get the x-ray table. He says, we get in the wheelchair. It was broken. It was broken. That was it. My baseball career was gone after that.
And I think
Dead.
that game, Joe, if I'm not mistaken, they got you out to play. You didn't want to play, right?
I didn't want to play. No,
And
I
they-
turned him
they
down
coaxed
four
him and
or
coaxed him
five
and got him
times.
thrown,
Pappas called up. Duffy called up. Pappas called Duffy. I said, no, I'm not playing. And it was on a Friday or Saturday, and Tuesday was spring training in Sebring, Florida. Broke the leg. That was it for my baseball. Out of it.
We've run out of time.
Oh.
Great. Thanks for the memories, Joe and Mike. That was great. I'm sure you went over and brought back a lot of memories to the people who your age, and also informed our younger audience about what basketball was like in the 40s and 50s. Our next Good Sports topic will be aerobics and sports medicine. But before we leave, Good Sports would like to express our condolences to the family of Vin Campbell, who passed away last week. Just a month ago, Vin was a guest on Good Sports talking about the Old Timers Hockey League. Vin was a great man, did a lot for Pawtucket sports, especially for the hockey leagues, especially at Lynch Arena, and Vin will definitely be missed. Our condolences to Fran Campbell, his wife, and the rest of his families. I'm Bill Mulholland for Good Sports. Good night.